Hey, everybody. Thanks for checking out Did You Hear About This? I'm Bill.
And I am Scott.
And we're doing something a little different today, Scott.
Yeah, a little bit.
We're trying to record ourselves with video. I almost said videotape. I almost did it again.
No tape.
No, I don't know if this is going to air. This is our pilot. If it turns out to be complete garbage and we can't edit it, none of us are going to be seen this week.
Right.
But next week, we'll be experts. We'll totally have figured out how to edit video, right?
Well, this might be janky as all get out. But this might not see the light of day. You're right.
Well, we're not sure how good we're going to be at editing video, but got to start somewhere. And you guys demanded it. You demanded to see our faces. Hello, now you see them.
Careful what you wish for.
How's your week been?
Dude, I am over daylight savings time. This is fucking stupid. Why do we do this?
I don't know. I thought we were done with this. I thought somebody told me years ago that we were getting rid of this.
I feel like every year there's a rumor that, they're going to vote for it. They're not going to do this anymore. And every year, here we are. And this year, I feel like they kept it secret. I didn't know we had to turn the clocks back until Saturday night at like 11 o'clock. Jenna says, "Oh, we turned the clocks back tonight, right?" And I was like, no, I didn't hear anything about it.
I didn't even know.
She Googled it, and she was like, yeah, no, 2 o'clock tomorrow morning, they get rolled back. And I was like, Jesus Christ, who's keeping this secret?
I don't even think we have a normal clock that runs like on batteries. Everything that I have in this house or on my phone that tells time updated automatically. So I didn't know. I just started to notice, holy shit, it's getting darker a lot sooner.
I have an alarm clock that needs to be manually set back. Still has the wrong time. The stove and the microwave have been changed. 3 clocks at my work needed to be manually changed. Nobody did it but me. I looked up, I was like, oh shit, it's like 4:15. I'm going home soon. And I was like, no, it's 2:45. And what a kick in the nuts that is.
That
man.
Sucks.
Yeah, nothing demotivates you more than thinking you're an hour ahead than you really are.
I've got a clock at work that just died. The battery died. And instead of like putting a new battery in, I just took the clock down. I was like, too much work to try to keep this clock going with batteries. You ever?
I had to check my wristwatch. I thought maybe this was still the wrong time, but I think I changed this yesterday now that I think about it.
Have you ever been one of those people that sets your watch like 20 minutes ahead to try to stay on schedule?
No, because in my head I would know like, oh, that's 20 minutes fast. I got plenty of time. I'd be later if I did it that way.
Yeah, when I first got together with Amy, she would do that. I'm like, your clock's wrong. Yeah, I know. But your clock's wrong. Yeah. I'm like, why aren't you fixing it? Oh, she's one of those people. She kicked that habit. She doesn't do it anymore.
I mean, in my mind, I'm thinking, who are you kidding? Yourself? No. Like, if you're going to procrastinate, you're going to procrastinate. You know, you're going to know that 20 minutes is buffered in there. And it's like, oh, I can fuck around right up to the very last minute. You're still going to be late. If you're going to be late, you're going to be late.
I think it was one of those ideas that had good intentions, but as soon as she did it.
In practice, it got to be stupid.
Yeah, she's like, I'm just not going to change my ways.
All my appointments now going to be at 1:15.
We almost had video of that spit take. That almost happened.
Yeah. A lot more crazy stuff we can do now. But yeah, I mean, my week's been pretty ho-hum. Just trying to catch up on sleep that's never going to happen. And sorry if the last edit got weird. Like, I did it late at night, and I put something on television just to have noise, because it was, I don't know, midnight. 12:30, and at some point, Hulu put Rocky Horror Picture Show on my television, and I'm editing, but I'm watching this, and I know you and I went to go watch Rocky Horror on Halloween like many moons ago.
Yeah.
And I swear, every time I watch this movie, it just gets fucking weirder and weirder and weirder.
It's like they're secretly adding new things to it.
Yeah. Like, I know all the big parts. I know Frankenfurter comes down the elevator, and the first time that Brad and Janet see Frankenfurter, it's like, oh my God. But like, there were parts that I swear I'm like, I don't remember this at all.
Maybe it was one of those cases where you watched the version that had extra footage because they had to air it on TV, and they needed it longer to be able to run a certain runtime and get commercials in.
Like that 80s
That's
thing.
happened, yeah. It happens pretty frequently when you watch some of that old 80s stuff.
Yeah, but last time you and I watched it, it was projected on the ceiling of the planetarium. Do you think they gave us a shitty version?
I don't know.
I don't know.
What? We should watch it together. I want to see if it happens to me.
I don't think I like it.
I know that movie by heart. I can't imagine watching it now and going, whoa, I've never seen that before.
And it was nothing huge. It was nothing like, oh, there's a whole new musical number I don't remember. Like, I knew all the music. It was just weird. I don't even know. I can't even give you an example.
You're making all this up, aren't you?
I don't.
You have no proof.
That movie is fucking weird.
It is
How did they ever make it? You know what it was? I saw Little Nell's nips.
Huh? Little Nell's? What?
Yeah, I saw Little Nell's nips.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Little Nell's the one that was in love with Meatloaf, the delivery driver.
Okay.
And she's the other one that got struck by the Medusa machine.
Yeah.
So when they had the pool scene, it was Susan Sarandon and Brad and Rocky Horror.
Right.
And then the other one was Little Nell. The one that had the real squeaky voice.
Okay.
Yeah, that one there. You could straight up see your nips in that floor show scene.
Amy and I were just watching something the other day. We'd seen a million times. And we're like, I said, did you ever notice there was a nip slip there?
I was just going to say, how did I not notice a nipple?
I guess that's with high definition kind of coming around, and then you catch a movie, that you saw years and years and decades ago, and now it's in high definition. You haven't seen it yet in high definition. You start noticing stuff like that.
Yeah, but as I was watching it and I saw that happen, they're all dressed the same. So I thought, does Susan Sarandon have a nip slip in this? She does not.
How many times did you have to rewind?
I didn't rewind. I was just like, if it's going to happen, it was going to happen right there, and it didn't happen. So somebody used tape and somebody didn't.
I watched Cat's Eye after we talked about it.
Oh, that was the anthology that Sister Michelle wrote in about.
Yep, another 80s movie.
Stephen King. Good?
Yes, I loved it. It was
really
total 80s garbage that I adore. And you could hear the music in the background, like the composer and the orchestra that they used to make the music was the same one for Back to the Future. So there's times that you hear these like, not even that, like the sprinkle sounds.
Yeah, like the chime.
Yeah. They're in Cat's Eye. I'm like, oh shit. Like little things like that connect you to the other things that you love.
Can I guess, like every time the little evil elf showed up, or the troll, what was it, an elf?
Yeah, it was a troll.
A troll. Every time the troll showed up, they did the
something like that.
Yeah, like the indication, the musical cue.
But it had the same look as Rocky Horror. I mean, it was shot better, but it was still shot like an 80s film. And they looked so different. In fact, the movie that we're going to talk about today, talk about looking different.
Yeah, man. What the hell did you send me?
So there's a movie out there. It's called Roar. And a ton of people don't know about this movie. My friend Jen sent it to me. Who was the guy that I sent it to you? Who's that podcaster? He's got the WT. Mark Maron. So he just did a quick thing about it on Instagram. That's what Jen sent to me. And I went, oh, this movie. I've seen this movie. I got to talk about this movie on the show.
Yeah. Well, I watched what Mark Maron had to say that you sent me. And then I went to IMDb and watched the trailer and did some digging. And I read about trivia facts that a lot of people don't know. And I was like, holy shit, man.
Yeah.
The most dangerous movie ever produced.
Completely insane.
Like big stars getting almost maimed.
Almost. Maimed. Actually maimed.
Yeah, this isn't Twilight Zone level, offing of the crew, but damn near close.
We are dark people. What are we like in this?
You brought both these stories. Don't lump me into this madness.
No, it's just me?
It's just you.
Yeah, all right. Anything else you want to talk about before we jump into Roar?
I don't know, man. Rocky Horror's weird. Sleep's hard to come by. I'm not talking about the election. Let's just get into Roar.
I'm glad you didn't bring up the election. I've had it with elections.
Nothing I like wins. Baseball, football, politics, you name it.
I was at the end of my rope with those fucking election commercials and everybody spamming my phone. I got so many messages on my cell phone. I thought that was illegal. It was just complete cell phone spam.
Well, you know what, though? By my wife's own testimony, those commercials were still better than Beetlejuice 2.
It's showtime.
I agree.
I did have somebody call me up today and ask me, so how do you really feel about Beetlejuice? So that was Brother Chris giving me his indication that he listened to the last episode.
All right. Very good, Brother Chris.
Yes.
He just likes to check in with you.
Yeah. So tell me what you really feel. Yeah, you heard it, buddy. You heard it all.
Like you're going to be like, I just did that for the show.
That was just shtick. That was just shtick. Loved it. Loved it. No, dog shit.
Watched it 83 times. All right, well, everybody who's watching on camera, if this actually does make it to camera, you get to see that I lose my glasses every single time.
Throw on your shirt.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Oh, God, getting older. This sucks. And these aren't even like my good glasses. These are my $2 readers
These
from
are
Rite
my
Aid.
cheaters.
My cheaters.
God, you're fucking old.
I know, man. What happened? I used to be so cool. All right, so I took a lot of information that I found online about this movie, and I wrote a little piece, so I'm going to be reading that to you as I usually do. AI helps me put this stuff together. Otherwise, this would be much worse because I'm not a great writer. But thanks, AI, for the great titles that you give us. The Madness and Majesty of Roar.
I'm glad you wrote something up because I have many questions about what I saw.
I hope we cover it here. The Magic and Majesty of Roar when art and danger collide.
Ooh,
what a title.
That is good, man.
So do you know what Noel Marshall is?
No, I don't.
Well, he's the maker of this movie. Noel Marshall's Roar is not just a film, it's a jaw-dropping spectacle of recklessness and obsession. Released in 1981, and it looks like it was released in 19... You said to me, was this a documentary or a movie? No, it's a movie that's shot so badly that it looks like a documentary.
Yeah, like I thought that this was actually a documentary of a family that was trying to save big cats, like lions and tigers and cheetahs. Oh my.
Oh my.
Oh my.
So I didn't know if this was a story, like a fabricated story, or if this was actually if this was an actual documentary about these people.
No, it's fiction, and it's supposed to be
Like,
somewhat comedy.
I thought Tippi Hedren actually had 50 lions on in her house.
I think they did.
What?
Okay, let me continue.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So, released in 1981, Roar was framed as an adventure comedy meant to celebrate big cats and wildlife preservation. The reality behind its production was far more brutal and chaotic. 70 cast and crew members. 70.
Yeah.
You look at this movie, you think there was like 8. Right? But 70 cast and crew members, including Marshall, his wife, Tippi Hedren.
Yes.
You know her?
I do. She's from all the Hitchcock movies.
Yep.
The Birds and The Birds 2.
Was she in Birds 2? Was Birds 2 a Hitchcock movie? I thought that was like one of those.
I don't remember. She was she was in The Birds. I know that. But she did more than that with Hitchcock.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a big Hitchcock guy. That's a rabbit hole I should go down one day.
Yeah.
I've seen like Rear Window and The Birds, and that's like pretty much it.
Vertigo, The Birds, Rear Window. Those are the big ones for him. Oh, and Psycho, of course.
Debbie Does Dallas too.
No.
And they had a daughter. Tippi had a daughter, Melanie Griffith.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either until I put this together.
Well,
I knew she had a famous parent, but I don't think I realized it was Tippi Hedren. Actually, I don't even know it was Noel Marshall, the father.
is it Noel, N-O-E-L?
Noel, yeah.
Okay. I couldn't tell if you were saying Noel or Noah.
Should I be saying Noel?
No, we'll go Noel.
No. Well, he's not around to yell at me anymore if I got his name wrong, if I mispronounced it. All right, so all these cast and crew members, including Marshall, his wife, Tippi Hedren, and their children, which is some kid boy I didn't recognize, and then Melanie Griffith,
Yes.
were mauled, clawed, and battered by untrained lions, tigers, and other predators during a grueling 11-year shoot.
Yeah, they were apparently tame, but not trained, if that makes any sense.
Right.
Yeah, and this is what threw me off, because in real life, they were a family. A family of all actors, but they were a family, right?
Right, I think.
And that's why I thought it was a documentary of their real lives.
Right.
But it wasn't. It was just this family of actors acting as a family on a nature preserve.
Yeah.
It's so fucking weird to me.
This is this guy's Noel's his best idea. He's like, you know what? I love these wild cats. I want to get the word out about, preservation of wild cats, and I make movies. What if we make a movie about wild cats? And you guys are all in it. It's my little pet project.
So weird. But they weren't his pets.
No, I think they kind of were. Hold on.
Okay. This is where life meets art and doesn't make any sense to me.
What was meant to embody harmony with nature instead became a living nightmare, showing the thin line between ambition and madness. So we'll focus on Noel a little bit. Noel was born in 1931 in Chicago. He was a talent agent, a producer, and an entrepreneur before stepping into the realm of filmmaking. He was notably an executive producer on The Exorcist in 1973.
So he had some big hits.
Yeah, he had some hits. His passion for big cats and wildlife conservation, shared with his then-wife Tippi Hedren, led to their commitment to Roar, raising lions and other wild cats in their home. Marshall's ambition was to create a film that would raise awareness about conservation. His relentless drive cost him dearly, both financially and personally. The couple's relationship deteriorated during this chaotic shoot, and they divorced in 1982. So the movie just
1 year. Like, she served him at the red carpet.
Despite the massive toll, Marshall is remembered for his fearless dedication and willingness to risk everything for his passion. He passed away on June 30th, 2010. All right. The violence and unpredictability of the film's production mirrored a surreal horror script. Hedren endured a fractured leg and scalp wounds after being thrown by an elephant. They had an elephant there?
She was riding an elephant that kicked her off, and she fell down and fractured her leg.
I told you I saw this movie. It was so long ago. I don't remember an elephant. She was bitten in the neck by a lion.
Yep.
You know, every day kind of thing.
As happens.
As happens. This required 38 stitches. Cinematographer Jean de Bont. Okay.
Yes.
Know that name?
Yeah. You told me this. He did the Speed movie?
Oh, I did tell you this.
Yeah.
I'm setting you up. It's called a gimme.
Okay. Yeah, he did the Speed movie.
He did one of the Speed movies. I don't remember which one. Maybe he did both.
Director of photography on that as well.
No, I think he was a director. I think he moved
the director.
Up. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But he was scalped. He had to have like 56 stitches to put his scalp back on.
Yeah.
And after he had that done, he came back and finished shooting.
Yes,
Which I guess he had
exactly.
plenty of time to heal because it took 11 fucking years to come out with.
It was actually 120 stitches.
I'm sorry. I shortchanged it by half.
Can you imagine? He's like, fuck this job. And then he goes home. He's like, oh, you know what? I need the work. I need the money. I guess I got to go back.
11 years it took to come out with this thing.
Melanie Griffith, Hedren's daughter, sustained facial injuries, necessitating 50 stitches and plastic surgery.
They thought she was going to lose her eye.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they thought she was going to like lose her eye, and then she healed up, and it was like, oh, good.
Oh, great. It's
Right,
good.
but, like,
You're all good. Get back out there, kid.
This is all because they had, I think they had like 20 of their own tigers and lions, and then at least the podcaster, they brought in 90 more that were, again, tamed but not trained. And the video I saw on IMDb is just like actors running and cats just running behind it, just clawing them down.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, when you watch this movie, you probably assume they're all trained.
These are giant cats, too.
This is all, like, actually happening and people taking some chances. Like, they're friendly enough.
No.
They weren't friendly enough.
No. And they kept showing this one lion that had blood all over its face. And in fact, when Tippi Hedren was bit, the scene of her getting bit actually made it into the final film.
Is that why the lion had the blood on his face?
That's what I couldn't put together.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. They said the blood you see on the screen is real when a tiger bit her in the neck.
See, I assume that was makeup.
No, that was legit.
They just took one of them ketchup bottles and yeah. It says Marshall himself suffered multiple attacks at one point, developing gangrene.
Got gangrene.
I don't even know what that is, but I know I don't want it.
Yeah, it's like limb rot.
The film used over 100 untrained lions, tigers, leopards, and other big cats. The animals often attacked each other, leading to unscripted violence. Production was plagued by disasters beyond animal attacks, including a flood that destroyed the set and footage, resulting in a significant delay and ballooning the budget to $17 million. This movie was cursed.
$17 million in 1981.
That's like $8 billion now.
That was when $1 million was the most money someone could fathom.
Yeah, that's when $1 million was.
Yeah.
Something special. $1 billion. Now $1 million can barely get by.
$1 million.
Despite being dubbed the most expensive home movie ever made, it earned a mere $2 million globally, leaving Marshall financially ruined.
That's insane. He's not even paying for a set.
Just using his house.
It's his house. To call this a home movie, this is why I thought it was a documentary of their real life.
Yeah. You know what? I don't have here where it was filmed, but I remember watching it thinking, oh, they're in Africa. Like,
it was actually California.
His house in California must have had a lot of acreage.
I guess, yeah.
Oh, God. California. Weirdest things happened there.
I don't think it was L.A. Like, it had to be outside of L.A., but, there's ranches and stuff.
There's not a section in this story that talks about how the lions escaped and ran through Hollywood Boulevard. The film's disastrous outcome, financial ruin, critical derision, and lasting physical scars only add to its infamy. Yet it has found a strange afterlife as a cult classic celebrated for its sheer audacity. There's a morbid curiosity in watching Roar unfold. It is the rare movie where every gasp and scream feels less like acting and more like survival.
Yeah. It's like almost like a snuff film.
I love that you said that. One of the things... when they re-released this movie later on, like in the 90s or 2000s, and they put new quotes from people who, how when you get a trailer, it's like somebody says something great about the movie.
Yeah, almost like Francis Ford Coppola, except he puts like shitty things in his...
Yeah, right. Well, this, whatever Hitflix is, says it's like Walt Disney went insane and shot a snuff version of Swiss Family Robinson. Yes, it does.
Oh, my God. Well, you talked about how the very first Texas Chainsaw Massacre was like found footage, 16 millimeter, and you were always afraid you were going to see something that you weren't supposed to see.
Right.
That's how I would feel watching this movie.
100%. 100%.
And hearing that like her real injury made it into the final cut that's brutal.
That's pretty weird. So it says it confronts us with questions about the limits of artistic ambition, the ethics of risk, and the very nature of storytelling when the characters are both prey and predator. Every scene is tinged with real-life terror, actors screaming in fear, a lion's gaze too focused.
Yeah, you're not a co-star, you're a meal.
Yeah. A tiger's swipe too close to its mark. The animals, oblivious to scripts and blocking, reduce the line between life and performance to mere illusion. That's what it's. That's an AI line for you if I ever heard one. And you've just probably edited out my 3 takes of that line. That was terrible. It wasn't even worth trying.
Sure, Bill. Blame it on the AI.
Yeah, well, I blame everything on everybody else. Not me. I'm perfect. As one YouTuber put it, I read this somewhere, a movie about a guy who isn't too concerned about the well-being of his family, made by a guy who is even less concerned about the well-being of his family. That about sums it up.
Talk about life imitating art, or art imitating life.
Yeah.
That's fucking weird.
My last quote, somebody says, just watching it feels dangerous.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
I watched the preview, and I thought, holy hell, what did you send me? Because first I said, what are we going to do the show about this week? I don't really have a story lined up. How do I follow up to the Toronto circus riot? I want to find something lighthearted. Everything was taking me to like the Holocaust, and I was like, I can't do this. It's too dark. And you're like, well, we could just talk about this. And you sent me that clip, and I watched it, and I thought, well, can we get a full episode out of this? And then I watched more and more, and I was like, holy shit, this might be a 2-parter.
This is one of those movies that you hear about, like people are listening right now and hearing about it for the first time. But how? Like something like this everybody should know about this. It's too crazy.
I heard about it, but I didn't know anything like this about it. Like I heard of like that mythology of Roar, but I don't think I ever fully understood what it was.
Are you going to watch the movie now?
I think I'm going to have to.
I got to rewatch it because it's been so long since I saw it.
My God.
20 years or some stupid thing like that. Now I have a very mature brain. I'll be able to watch it differently.
Oh, shit.
This would be like watching Jaws with real sharks.
It'd be like watching Jurassic Park with real dinosaurs.
Yeah. This is insane.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
70 cast members. They say that like a cast member went to the hospital like every other day of shooting.
It's one of the things I've really started to learn doing this show with you. Hollywood, I've said it before, I'm repeating myself. When we were kids, we'd look at this thing and we're just like, oh my God, Hollywood is so amazing what they can do. And of course everybody's safe. And of course everything's on the level. And nobody's a criminal in Hollywood. And as we get older, we realize they're all maniacs.
The fact that there wasn't a Vic Morrow situation a la Twilight Zone in Roar blows my mind.
That we know about.
Well, that's true too.
This is the kind of movie that would cover up something like that.
It's maybe been a snuff film.
It could have been a real one. We could have actually seen some murders. If you squint, you might be able to see something in the background that I don't even want to go there.
Yeah, well, and I remember thinking it was pretty fucked up that they used Vic Morrow right up to the point where the helicopter smushed him. But the fact that they actually used Tippi Hedren getting bit in the neck by a tiger, that's fucked up.
You see the tiger.
Real blood? Like, oh, man.
Yeah.
What was this rated? Like R?
X. No, I don't know. I didn't even look at the rating.
PG-13. It was 81.
Yeah.
There was no PG-13, just PG.
PG. This is a PG movie.
That's right.
It's absolutely a PG movie. No question. It's an 81 movie. It means it's PG.
1 F and 2 boops.
Right. It passes. And 20 maulings by lions. Totally PG.
Yeah. You know how IMDb does that thing at the end where it has the ratings and it says like sex and violence and it gives a rating and or sex and nudity and rating. Well, this says sex and nudity mild or minimum, violence and gore extreme.
Is that what it says?
Something like that. It was red, and as far as that needle goes, it was pinned.
I just learned about that feature just 2 weeks ago.
Really?
So we do a thing at work where we have movie day, and we all get together, we put a movie on, we work, and we have a movie on. And they wanted to watch Gone Girl. And I'm like, well, let me go. I remember Gone Girl had some nudity, like had some sex scenes in it. So I go to that.
That was
Google,
Ben Affleck?
Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
And I Google, it's like, oh, yeah, plenty of sex and nudity. I'm like, I ain't watching this with my team. I'm such a prude. I was like, I ain't doing it. We're lucky. It could be an HR thing in a lot of places. We're not one of those places, but I remember just going, no way. I was that way with my parents, too. Like, I couldn't watch anything with nudity or sex. If something came on accidentally, I'd be so nervous. I'd run out of the room. There was like they were flirting with a sex scene in Great Outdoors with John Candy and Dan Aykroyd. And I remember watching that with my parents going, I got to get the fuck out of here.
The Great Outdoors was such a good movie.
Makes me so nervous to watch that kind of stuff with people.
I don't remember acting that way around my parents. Like, I don't remember having that visceral reaction like you recall. But my kids, we could watch a movie and it could be, violent and they don't care. Then like somebody kisses, they like hide their face when somebody kisses.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
So that's telling you something about our culture.
And they'll be like, tell me when they stop.
Violence is okay, but love, natural stuff like nudity is just not okay.
Not even nudity, just kissing.
Yeah.
They'll be like, oh. Like on Saved by the Bell when they'd be like, ooh.
Oh, yeah.
The kids are like, me. Tell me when it's over.
I remember being a kid sleeping over at my friend Greg's house, and we were watching a movie with his parents because he had like the liberal parents and anything goes at Greg's house. And we were watching, it was the first time I ever saw Rodney Dangerfield's Back to School. Remember when he opens the door and the girl's taking a shower? Yeah. And then he goes back for a second peek?
Close your eyes, I'm coming in.
He goes, you're perfect, or something like that. And I just remember being so embarrassed and looking at my friend Greg and looking at the parents and being like, nobody's flinching. Yeah, nobody's freaked out. Nobody's hiding their face. Yeah. What else did they watch? They watched Noel's other movie, Debbie Does Dallas too. That's not who I said directed that. Jean de Bont.
Oh, man.
You
said it was Hitchcock.
Hitchcock. God. Trying to recall some jokes.
Very suspenseful.
Yeah. Well, that's the story. That's the story of Roar. Now you know.
It's insane. How did I not hear about this? How is this not a bigger news story? How is this not a bigger known thing?
I think the real question is, how has this not been remade yet? Because they remake everything. Why not this?
I think there's obvious reasons why they're not remaking this.
Yeah. Well, there's CGI. They could do it.
There is.
Dude, that would be such a Hollywood thing to do. Remake Roar, try to get some of the old shine on this, right? People talk about this movie. People remember it. It's a cult classic. And then they make it all in CGI.
Well, think about this. They made, I guess, Cocaine Bear, which was based on a story where a bear didn't go on a cocaine killing spree. A bear did cocaine and died of a heart attack. Why couldn't they take this, which really happened, and turn this into the next big Hollywood, even if it's like a Hollywood B-roll, like a B movie, good enough.
I'm going to produce this. Yeah. You've sold me on it. Let's do it.
I like the idea that it's Jurassic Park-like.
Yeah-ish. I guess so.
I mean, if Sharknado got a fucking runtime and 7 sequels, this got to do something.
Have you ever watched Sharknado?
The first one I have.
I watch all of them.
Really?
Oh, they're terrible.
Oh, they're so bad.
That's why you have to watch them.
No.
You can't miss a travesty like that.
No. I guess this would have been the Sharknado of its time.
Yeah.
Well, only for real.
Only for real. The snuff film of
Walt Disney doing Swiss Family Robinson.
Ooh. Well, what do you say? You want to move on to some news?
Yeah, let's do it.
Before we kick off the news, though, I want to start with a quick game.
Oh, surprise game.
A small surprise game.
All right.
There is one actor in the 80s, 90s, 2000s. He's died somewhere maybe in 2000s. There's one actor who has been killed by a xenomorph from Aliens, by a Predator, and by the Terminator. One actor, one iconic actor, has been killed by all three of our heroes. Alien is a hero of mine. You may not have known that. Terminator is a hero of mine, and so is Predator. They're by heroes.
Okay.
What actor was killed by all of them in different movies?
Carl Weathers. I don't know
That was a good guess. That was a pretty damn good guess.
I don't know.
Keep thinking. Think about Aliens. He had a part in Aliens that was, and I'm talking about Aliens 2. He was killed.
Aliens, yes.
Yeah. He had a pretty good part in that. He had an almost invisible part in Terminator. He was just a thug. He wasn't quite as famous.
Is this the Game Over Man guy?
Game over, man.
Yeah, is that who it was?
I'm Bill Paxton.
Bill Paxton, yes.
Bill Paxton,
yes. I couldn't think of his name.
I was reading something the other day. I'm like, this guy's been killed by all the greats.
He was killed by a Terminator because he was a thug.
He was a thug. There was a scene in the first Terminator.
Oh, the first one. Okay.
Yeah.
He was nobody back then. He would have been a bit role.
I don't know what it was about him and James Cameron, but he was in a lot of James Cameron stuff.
He made Titanic.
Was he in Titanic?
No, he didn't. Billy Zane did. Never mind.
Oh, okay. He might have been. He might have been in there somewhere. You might have seen him tucked in the back.
You heard that thunk when that guy fell off the back of the ship?
That was
Bill
it.
Paxton.
I'm Bill Paxton.
Bill Paxton.
Oh man, did you watch that Twister sequel yet?
Twisters? No.
Yeah. Yeah. Me
No
neither.
interest.
Zero interest. I think it actually did kind of okay.
Did it stream?
I think it came and went.
Really?
Yeah. Well, maybe
Wow.
not. What do I know? That to me, it's like we were just talking about Hollywood remaking these movies. Why Twisters? Why Beetlejuice? Why do these when you had Roar there the whole time?
When was he killed by a predator?
I think that was Predator 2.
It would have had to have been because he wasn't in part one. I know that.
I barely remember Predator 2. I think I'll go back to watch that. I remember
Mel Gibson and the ship being under the.
Not Mel Gibson.
Sorry. Danny Glover
Yeah.
and the ship being under the city, and it was a heat wave, and
Dude, was Robert Downey, not Robert Downey, Morton Downey Jr. Now I'm mixing up the names the other way. Was Morton Downey Jr. in that? I have a weird memory that he makes some kind of appearance or has some kind of role.
the main scene I remember from Predator 2 was when the Predator takes like the blade, is like a saw blade looking thing, and he throws it through the meatpacking place, and it like goes through all the different sides of beef, and then like cuts the guy in half, and like guts, like the legs just fall, like all these guts and blood just come dripping out the bottom.
Whoa.
It was like a very graphic, non-graphic scene. You know what I mean? Like they didn't show it, but they showed it, you know?
No, I don't remember much of that movie at all.
That's like the one scene that sticks out to me the most.
Speaking of things you throw that have blades, the other day I just had this urge. I'm like, I haven't seen Crawl in forever.
Okay.
So I spent $3.99 on Amazon. I watched about 30 minutes of Crawl, and I went, I don't need to go back to this.
No.
Like, it's great when you're a kid. It's great when you're in the 80s. But now it's a little tough to watch. It's slow. It's boring. But it's sci-fi. I mean, it took everything. It took everything from that day. It took
Barbarians.
Star Wars and Conan. And like, how do we match this all together in Beastmaster? Yeah, it's sci-fi old Renaissance fair stuff. And I'm watching it. I look at the background. I'm like, that's Liam Neeson.
Really?
Yeah, young Liam Neeson.
Liam Neeson?
And you know why I brought Liam Neeson up?
I don't know where you're going with any of this.
Because I am the segue master. I got a story about Liam Neeson.
What about Bill Paxton?
Oh, we moved on from Bill Paxton.
Oh, that wasn't going anywhere?
That was
I
it.
thought that was going someplace.
I just wanted to know if you knew who I was talking about there. All right, so here's something from, I didn't write down where it's from. Let's just lie and say it's from Variety. Sure,
why
might
not?
be. George Lucas cut a bombshell Star Wars twist from Phantom Menace. Have you heard about this?
Have you heard about this?
Have you heard about this?
Did you hear about this? I believe that would have been, they were going to kill off Obi-Wan Kenobi, but did not.
How did you know that?
Because I read the same story as you do.
Okay, so you did just read this.
Yeah, and I couldn't figure out how it would work because it was a prequel, and Obi-Wan Kenobi was alive in 1977 Star Wars.
So let me read it to you. Liam Neeson was going to play the real Obi-Wan Kenobi who died. Love it or hate it, Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace is at least widely beloved for its casting of Ewan McGregor as young Obi-Wan Kenobi. A recent interview with Star Wars concept and storyboard artist Ian McCaig via StarWars.com to mark The Phantom Menace's 25th anniversary reveals that George Lucas was originally planning a bombshell twist for the movie. McGregor's Obi-Wan and Liam Neeson's Qui-Gon were originally swapped, meaning Neeson was playing the real Obi-Wan and thus the real Obi-Wan died. So he was supposed to be the real Obi-Wan, and then whatever Ewan McGregor's character was takes on the name of Obi-Wan to continue the Obi-Wan legacy. That was the original idea.
Is that why Rey is now a Skywalker? Because they reused that story?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't like that.
There's times where I think about Star Wars and how brilliant I think the whole thing was, and then you hear these stories about, oh, but it was originally going to be this. Sometimes you're like, maybe George didn't have the best ideas. Maybe we're lucky that producers and other people got involved and changed this. Like, I remember hearing that the original Star Wars was all supposed to be little people. Like, it was supposed to be like time bandits.
Yeah, well, I mean, the original Star Wars was supposed to be the story of the Wills, and the Wills were people that came before people, and the whole thing was supposed to be the story of the Wills told through R2-D2 because he's the one constant throughout every single movie.
Oh, he's like the cat in Cat's Eye.
He's the cat in Cat's Eye. Everything was through R2's perspective.
Well, this is one of those movies that got changed tons along the way.
For the better.
And worked. Like,
Yeah.
that almost never happens.
Yeah.
That's interesting. You sent a Star Wars story over. I didn't make my notes, but what did that say?
I don't have my phone, Bill. My phone's recording me right now. It said that they named a new director for a new Star Wars film coming out that was not at all connected to the Skywalker saga.
Yeah, so it's their next big trip. So they did announce this? I mean, there's been rumors about them making all these movies.
3 hours ago on the phone.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, it's like, we're finally going to re-announce.
Who's the director?
Yeah, it's right out of my head.
Phillips?
Todd Phillips? No, that was the guy who did the Joker.
No, that was the guy that fucked up Joker. That's right.
Yeah, y'all have to search out yourselves.
But this same guy was also rumored like 6 months ago, that he was going to be doing the next Star Trek video. Is this guy just doing all sci-fi stuff now?
Who's he sound like?
Sounds like J.J. Abrams to me.
And where's J.J. Abrams now? I mean, what did Star Wars do to him?
I don't know, man.
Has he made a movie since he made the last Star Wars movie?
I haven't even heard anything from, what was his thing? Robot? Something Robot?
I almost said Robot Chicken.
I almost said Giant Freaking Robot, but that's not it. That's that shitty website.
It's not iRobot. Bad Robot.
Bad Robot. Yeah, I haven't even seen anything from his production company.
Man, he's done.
It broke him.
It broke him. It's like Joss Whedon. You haven't seen that guy either. Marvel killed him, and then DC re-killed him when he tried to put out that the remixed version of the Justice League. There's a video that somebody put out that took all the original Justice League scenes that came out the first time.
You said about this. It's like a recut.
And then right next to it, it's the version that came out with the other guy, Snyder. It's fascinating to see it. It's like all of a sudden Ben Affleck's walking in the day, but in this cut, he's walking at night. And it's the same footage. Like, It really goes to show you what they can do with special effects and how they change the mood completely. They can make day into night with special effects, and it looks flawless.
I love how anybody that was ever a fan of Joss Whedon, they go like right to Firefly. So that's like the good thing he did was Firefly, and then they canceled it. It was like, oh, he really got screwed. Yeah, never mind everything he did after Firefly because it was straight dog shit. But okay.
Well, he was apparently a real son of a bitch.
That's what they say.
Yeah. So he kind of, his bad reputation probably is what got him out of Hollywood.
And that's what, bringing me back to Todd Phillips. Where does this guy go now?
I don't know.
I was reading a story today about Quentin Tarantino saying that everything that he did, like Todd Phillips is the real Joker. Like he spent that studio's money just like the Joker would. And then at the end, he just gave him a big fuck you. He said, fuck you to the studio and fuck you to superhero movie fans. And like, that's the most Joker thing you can do. I loved it. I liked it more than Joker Part 1.
Interesting. Well, that is kind of the story I've been hearing too. It's a little bit of a punk
It's
movement.
like this avant-garde punk move, but where the fuck do you go from here? What studio is going to give you money to get it stuck up their ass?
Probably whoever's still giving Nicolas Cage roles. Like,
Yeah, but I did watch the Unbearable Pressure of Immense Talent, or what was that called?
oh yeah, you saw that?
I watched it. Yeah,
That's pretty good,
that
right?
is good.
I enjoyed that.
That's Nick Cage should get money for that.
Yeah. But he's got some horror movies that are just pure clunkers. I mean, some of the worst things you've ever seen.
Which was the one with the bees?
I don't know.
Wicker Man.
Oh, was that Wicker Man?
Wicker Man, yeah.
Not the bees!
Bees, not the bees. That's like the most used meme ever.
Yeah, I've never seen that, though. Yeah. All right, you ready for another news story?
Yeah, we've been all over the place here.
Let's see what else we got. All right, so Eddie Van Halen has died a year ago, 2 years
R.I.P.
ago. Yep. We talked last week or the week before that Alex Van Halen has put out a book.
Brothers,
Right? So all this new stuff is kind of coming out. I thought this part was really funny. So Alex Van Halen reveals what Eddie thought of Spinal Tap. You've seen Spinal Tap,
Love
right?
Spinal Tap.
Everybody loves Spinal Tap. The public really doesn't have any idea what goes on behind the scenes, he said. That wasn't funny at all. Ed and I saw it and we thought, that's what we experienced. That is really how things happen. It's mind-bending.
I think that's the genius of it.
And I'm certainly not going to burst the bubble, but that's not how things happen. But that movie, there were a lot of elements that were more true than they were parody. And it goes on to say, like, you know, Eddie's watching this movie going, why is everyone laughing? Like, this is like real. Like, Eddie wasn't the brightest guy.
Yeah, I know.
But I don't think he realized that this is supposed to be parodied. He's watching and going, why are people laughing? Like, this is, yeah, we get lost under stadiums and tunnels. I don't understand.
I could see Eddie requesting a 1/3 scale Stonehenge.
I could do it, fortunately. Instead of drawing the two slashes, he just does one.
Instead of drawing the one, he drew the two. Yeah, it's 12-inch.
Funniest fucking thing ever.
Oh man, and I could see David Lee Roth doing jump kicks in front of it.
Yeah.
Just making the best of it.
Supposedly, David Lee Roth was the brains of the operation.
That's what they say.
Like, as corny and silly as he is, he's actually pretty fucking brilliant. And he's got to be. You ever hear him talk? He may not make any sense, but to him, he's making sense. And whatever he's saying to himself seems pretty brilliant. So there's some intelligence there. It's just the rest of us can't follow the guy.
He's one of the top 5 front men of a band of all time.
And he's not even a good singer. He's not a good singer. If you listen to him live...
I don't know. I can't say now, but I heard a lot of his isolated vocal tracks, and he did some pretty impressive things. Running with the Devil?
But a lot of it was coaching from Ted Templeman, the producer. Like, do it again, do it again, do it again. Like, if you listen to him live, even now, not now, but I guess 10 years ago, they reunited and put out a live album.
So that was just studio.
In the studio, they get him to sound good. Live, he's not good. Go watch archival footage from, you know, the US Festival or something like that. Okay. He's just so out of key, out of tune. Everything is just bad. But he's such a great, fun frontman.
But if he's coachable, he has to have some kind of talent in there or some kind of ability, if not natural talent. Like, he's not Axl Rose. I think you and I were talking the other week. Axl Rose is maybe the greatest, maybe the best frontman of all time.
You think better than Freddie Mercury?
Oh, man. All right, top 3. Maybe not the best, but as far as metal music goes, as far as headbanger music goes, Axl Rose is it.
I think so, too. I mean, he's up there on the list for sure.
Without a doubt.
A lot of people love this guy from Tool. Do you know that band, Tool?
Yeah, I know Tool. I know Tool well, but all their shit sounds alike, and he can compose. He's more of a composer than he is a showman. He's not a front man.
I wonder why everybody likes him so much. I hear he's a great singer. It's amazing what he can do, and I don't know.
Yeah, all their songs are just the same thing over and over. And I'm a Tool fan, don't get me wrong. But you put an album on, it's like, am I on track 1 or track 9? Like, I can't tell. It's almost like orchestral music, you know? Like, what movement of this piece am I in right now?
I love complicated music, but I'm the same. Like, I listen to Tool, I'm like, it's all blending together. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't get it. Everybody gets it, and I feel like I don't get it. I'm missing the narrative here.
If I went to go see Tool, it wouldn't be like going to see a concert. It would be like going to see a performance. If I went to go see Guns N' Roses, that's a fucking concert through and through.
Yeah. It's almost with Radiohead was the same for me. It's like it was just so big and so much, and everybody was so in love with it. I'm like, I'm missing something. I love big. I love, talent.
Yeah.
But I just could not get into that. There's music now coming out with the young kids who are still playing guitar. There's a band I've seen it written. I don't even know how to say it. Apocryphia or something like that.
I've read about them. Yeah.
I mean, this kid's just tapping, but it's not even musical. It sounds like computer noise. It sounds like video game music.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's what he's going for, but he's come up with his own style of playing guitar, and he was raised in the video game culture.
Yeah.
So that's naturally what he puts out, and people love it. I cannot figure it out.
I think Chris Cornell's another top 5 guy.
Yeah, he is good. He's really good.
Yeah.
That's a weird... I think about him a lot, actually, for some reason. Like, he had such great talent, so much to give the world, but his depression overtook him. And it's like, when you're that good, does that ever like keep you from wanting to kill yourself because you know you have so much to give, or did he just not think he had anything and he just let the depression take him away?
He had a lot more going on than just his music and his mental health. I mean, he was one of those kids that divorced his parents.
He was?
Yeah. He had like, what do they call it, like an independent...
He did a Drew Barrymore?
Yeah.
He did a Corey Feldman?
He did.
He did a Feldman?
I guess.
I should have divorced my parents.
I don't know. It didn't end up too well for 2 of those 3.
All right, what other stories have I got? This might be my last story of the show. In fact, I'm pretty sure it is my last story of the show. Robert Zemeckis. Who's Robert Zemeckis?
He is a director of the new movie Here, but he also directed Forrest Gump.
And? It's right behind you on the wall, Back to the Future.
Back to the Future, of course. How did I forget that?
So we always talk about, will there be a 4th Back to the Future?
Well, if his recent success in the movie Here is any indication, no.
Would you want to see Back to the Future again?
No, they have to leave that alone. I brought it up as one of our things that could be tapped.
Right.
I don't think it should be a live-action continuation of the 3 we already have. 3 was already kind of,
Yeah.
The Wild West.
Yeah, I wasn't that into the 3rd one.
And that was one where they filmed it exact same time as they filmed part 2.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just, it was like a Harry Potter kind of thing. Where they
divided it in half.
Cut it in half and, yeah.
And that seems weird to me, too, because they were such different movies that it seems like an entirely different production. But somehow they were like, all right, we're going to film all this in the future, and then we're going to go out to the desert for the last half of this shoot. Yeah, it seems like there should have been a break between them, but they filmed them back-to-back.
Yeah, because Back to the Future 2 didn't really have a standalone story of its own. There was no resolution. It was just a setup for part 3.
Yeah. Well, anyway.
I'm sorry.
There is a Back to the Future, the musical.
I know. I brought this up. Will went to go see it from 1980s Now.
You want to go see it? I think it's closing soon.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be, it's not long-lived like Phantom of the Opera or something like that.
This isn't no Little Shop of Horrors or Cats.
Well, anyway, Robert Zemeckis said on the Happy Sad podcast, I don't know, I've heard of it. I don't know what that is, Happy Sad podcast. Isn't everybody happy sad?
Sure.
It's the podcast for the people then. I would like to do the Back to the Future, the musical movie. That's what he said to them. I would go back and do the Back to the Future, the musical movie, just like Mel Brooks did with The Producers, which I never saw, but I know you have.
Fantastic movie.
I would love to do that. I think that would be great. I floated that out to the folks at Universal. They didn't get it, so nothing I can do. So maybe there would have been, if the folks at Universal said we're into it, a 4th Back to the Future movie, which was him directing Back to the Future, the musical, on film.
It's so funny that this is your final story, because the whole time you were talking about the Roar movie, all I can think in my head is, as bad and as panned as that movie was, the greatest movie of all time would have been The Making of Roar.
How about Roar the Musical?
Roar the Musical would be great. Only there'd be so many fucking paramedics on standby because people in the audience getting mauled by cheetahs and leopards. Oh, shit.
The things we're not getting that we want. They're giving us all this garbage we don't want. We want Roar the Musical.
Or at least the making of.
I do have one more story, and then we'll wrap it up. This is just a quick one. Are you a Black Sabbath fan?
Not hugely, no. I mean, as much as I'm into like 60s rock and roll and stuff like that, Black Sabbath was, I mean, I know the music, but it's never anything I like yearn to listen to more of, you know?
Oh, I go through phases. There's times where I just got to listen to Black Sabbath. I'll even listen to the shit Dio sang on.
Really?
Instead of Ozzy. Yeah, I'm a fan of Tony Iommi. He's like,
yeah.
To me, when I would listen to old Black Sabbath riffs and some of his leads, it's kind of around the same time. I guess it's after Led Zeppelin. I don't really know how they match each other. But there's a lot of Zeppelin-y sounding stuff in Tony Iommi's work, and I never thought he got enough credit for being a major player in rock and roll.
Well, I've been seeing Zakk Wylde all over the news here lately with Black Label Society. Yeah. And he played on Sabbath, right?
No, he played on Ozzy stuff.
Oh, I thought he was part of Sabbath, like towards the end. No?
No.
So when he played with Ozzy, it was always just with Ozzy's solo stuff?
Right.
I didn't realize that. Okay.
I mean, he did Sabbath songs with Ozzy. There's some Ozzy.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Well, I'm always interested in how business works in the old days. I just love it. I love it. Tony Iommi wanted to buy his legendary Monkey SG guitar. So an SG is a certain kind of guitar. He had it. He loved this Monkey guitar. He played it all the time. He's like, this thing is so important to me. It's so special. I'm going to retire it and stop playing it. So instead of retiring it and putting it, I'm looking around this.
On the wall?
Yeah, I move my guitars upstairs. But I used to hang guitars too. So instead of doing that, he said, you know what, why don't I sell this to the the Hard Rock Cafe. So you ever go to a Hard Rock Cafe?
Yes, sir. I've gone to many.
Got the hiccups?
Yes, I do.
So the Hard Rock Cafe has tons of guitars, and I love going to all the different Hard Rock Cafes to see them. So it's like a museum.
Yeah, but there's almost too many of them. I don't think there's a curator that knows exactly what they have. So I'm going to guess Tony Iommi sold this guitar hoping he'd get it back someday, and now he has no idea where the fuck it's at.
Well, that was the story, everybody. You're really close, really close.
Okay.
So he basically made a deal with the Hard Rock Cafe. He said, listen, this is my baby. I love this thing.
This is on commission. Like, you can have this from my private collection.
Dumber than that.
Really?
He sold it to them with the
understanding,
assumably written rights to say when he wanted to buy it back, they would not refuse him. So at one point he's thinking, I want that thing back, and he goes and he calls up the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I'm sorry, the Hard Rock Cafe, and they go, new number, who dis? Like they were like, we don't know anything about that deal. We're not selling it back to you.
Yeah.
What a shitty move. I mean, what happens if you lose the contract?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a poorly run restaurant that has a gimmick of having shit on the walls. And again, I don't think there's anybody that can curate or even fully appreciate the amount of history that they have. Because some of it's real, some of it's replica. You know what I mean? I don't think anybody really knows what they have on those walls.
Right. Same with the Planet Hollywood. I don't even know if that's still around.
Yeah, I don't know either. That was a dumb move. I read a very similar story in Guitar World that when who the fuck's the guitarist from Aerosmith? When
Joe Perry.
Joe Perry. Yeah, when Joe Perry broke up and left Aerosmith back after Done with Mirrors, he packed up all his guitars and just left them. And when he came back and joined the band, all the guitars were gone. He has no idea where his guitars went.
Really?
Yeah.
There's a Slash story with Joe Perry. Like Joe Perry sold Slash a guitar, and then Joe Perry wanted back. Slash said, "Nope, I love this guitar."
I love this guitar. And a lot of those like '50s Gibson and like they are insanely valuable guitars. And there's a lot of argument out there in the world where people that buy them just to collect them and never play them, and people are like, that's stupid. Like that's a work of art you should be playing. And yes, I get there's history, but if you're not playing it, you're wasting it. And then there's other people who are just like, nope, I got all of them.
Right. Yeah.
And you hear about shit like that, like when Clapton sold away so much of his guitar collection for charity. He had so many guitars, and he was like, this is stupid. Why am I doing this? I think that Dave Gilmour from Pink Floyd just sold off a bunch of his guitars too.
I remember him doing that a while ago.
Yeah.
Like him being a rich guy going, I don't need to live with all these riches. This is stuff that's not being enjoyed by me. I'm going to sell it all off. And he lived a minimalist life after that. I don't know if it's true, but I remember hearing that decades ago.
The idea of Tony Iommi selling this to basically a restaurant chain, hoping to buy it back someday, like it was one guitar. It was one very meaningful guitar. Why not just hold on to that?
Right.
That's stupid.
Seriously, Hard Rock, couldn't you have just sold it to? So the Hard Rock made a deal with him. He said, look, we'll let you borrow it back. And what Tony Iommi did is he took that guitar to Gibson. He said, listen, I love this guitar. They're not going to let me have it. Can you make me a replica of this? And then he's like, you know what, while we're at it, can we just make this replica for sale? So there is.
So he has his own signature edition now.
He has his own signature edition of the Monkey, and he says it plays as good as the original. So he's like, I'm okay with it. I got a replica, but I don't know. I'm not one to let go of my childhood stuff. So
yeah,
if I were him, I'd still be pissed. I wouldn't want a replica.
Voltron somewhere around
yeah,
here.
I don't want a replica of my Voltron. I want my Voltron.
I'm to be honest, I'm very surprised at this story. They even knew where the monkey was. They'd be like, "What monkey? No, we should have guitars, sir."
Yeah. At some point, they're like, "Who are you, Tony? Black what? Black Sabbath? Was that a band?"
Dinner.
I'm new here.
Dinner starts at 4:30. Would you like a table?
Oh, I always felt bad too, because every time I'd go to a Hard Rock, I'd do the tour, and there's people eating their dinner, and I'm leaning over their table looking at the guitars on the wall.
Always felt weird. How many Hard Rocks do you think you've been to?
10?
I've probably been to about between 10 to 20.
And I've been to some clunkers. Like I've been to the
one
Hard
in
Rock.
Nashville wasn't great.
I don't remember. Did we go there together?
No, we didn't go there.
Okay.
No, I went there when I was in high school.
Seems like that would be a good one.
You would think.
Yeah.
And maybe I thought it was a clunker because I'm not a country music fan.
Maybe. New York City I spent way too much time in New York as a 15-year-old walking around. I would always just be like, I'm bored. I'm going to walk into the Hard Rock, pretend I'm going to get a table, and just walk around because it's a museum to me.
I used to have, I don't know, at least 10 different Hard Rock T-shirts.
Oh, that's the thing too. If you
And
go
the
to
pins.
Oh yeah, you got to collect all that dumb shit. People don't do that anymore.
No, the hurricane glasses, the shot glasses.
Oh Jesus,
we had so much shit. The one that was most memorable to me was Myrtle Beach because it was built into like a pyramid.
Oh yeah, I do remember that one.
I
I don't
think
remember
it was
what was inside. I remember the outside was awesome.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Harley Davidson's too. We do this. Amy and I don't do it so much anymore, but it's like anywhere we are, it's like, oh, we're in Kona. There's a Harley Davidson of Kona. And then we go in and we get a fucking shirt and the shirt shrinks immediately and I can't wear it. And I'm like, now I have about 80 fucking Harley Davidson shirts that don't fit. I'm like, why did I do this?
Yeah.
We just get so suckered into these restaurants and these chains and these franchises. These gimmicks. Thank you. That's what I'm going
Yeah.
for. I fall for all those goddamn gimmicks.
I want a Roar shirt. I'll wear that. And when it shrinks, I'll just wear it when it's really tight.
I want to see you wear it really tight.
Roar.
All right. Let's wrap this thing up.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for listening. Maybe even viewing. Who the hell knows what's going on with this? But hey, good to see you. And tell a friend. And maybe we will see you next week. But as always, stupid, strangely satisfying.
Strangely satisfying.
So thanks for joining.
Give us a big, loud roar. Roar. Game over, man.